Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Ask an Action Coach. I am Joseph Muenich. I work in business development at ActionCOACH of Wisconsin. I am here today with Coach Jackie Zach. Jackie is a certified business and executive coach at ActionCOACH of Wisconsin. And Jackie, we've been talking about the 5 ways, the 5 numbers to really measure if you want to increase your business. And a friend of mine, Chris, has recently moved into a sales position in his company. And he was asking me about how do you measure your conversion rate and what is a conversion rate? I did my best to explain it to him, but I wanted to ask you because I know he's watching and I think you might do a better job of explaining what it is and how do you measure it.
Sure. Excellent. Well, Chris, the fact that you're watching is fabulous. So I'm speaking directly to you. Conversion rate is really how many of your leads that come in the door convert into customers. That's really what it is. It's the rate at which the leads you get in convert into actual paying customers. So with that said, that's conversion rate. And why we test and measure it is because that is an excellent area and relatively easy area to improve, but it's all about your sales. If leads are about marketing, conversion rate is all about sales and your sales process. So if you do not have a sales process, or if it's in your head, not written down, step number 1 is to create a sales process, right? And there's lots of steps to a sales process, and there's a lot of things that you can do in a sales process. You want to make sure you have enough touches, for example, things like that. And why that's important is because you're building a relationship in that sales process. So the other thing is about consistency and testing and measuring. So if you're trying something new, right, you want to make sure that you continue to try it and test and measure it. You don't go by gut feel. It's not, because I'll tell you, when I thought when I had my business that I had a 99% conversion rate. And when I actually tested and measured it, it was more like 90%. Well, that's fine. And that's a great conversion rate because people are coming into the door, but it wasn't what I expected. So I will promise you that when you start to test and measure it, it is not at all what you think it is, emotionally. So that would be, step 1 is start to test and measure that. So and that's testing and measuring all the leads that come in, not only, from the phone, from email, if you have a place of business where that they come in, whatever the inquiries is really what you're talking about. We're going to cover leads next time.
Okay.
But part of it is some people, I think you and I were talking about that. So why don't you just tell about your experience in terms of long enough or short enough testing and measuring?
Sure. Well, I work on my conversion rate all the time. And when I have a new idea or something to test, that's kind of exciting. And when I start to see really results happening in my conversion rate, that's wonderful. And I love to test and measure that. But then sometimes the new idea again will creep in. And even though the old idea was starting to affect my conversion rate, I might stop doing that thing just because it's more exciting to try something new, when really what I need to do is test it for the long haul so I can really see what's happening. And like on the other side of that coin is when you try something new and nothing seems to be happening. And maybe my gut reaction is to be like, oh, this isn't working. But it might take a couple of weeks or a couple of months of that same repetition to affect the change.
Right, exactly. And so that's why testing and measuring is so important, is because first of all, you'll start to notice those trends. Secondly, you can make keep doing what you're doing, but make little tweaks along the way that may affect, it may, for example, you can make a tweaks in something you're saying, for example, and test and measure that. But part of it is, and I am guilty of this too, is that bright, shiny object, right? We get bored. And the new thing is going to be the new bright, shiny thing when the old thing was working perfectly fine. And I know we talk about this all the time, and you're an actor as well, right? Or you've acted.
Yep.
And part of this is how do you continue to do that performance night after night after night and have it be fresh.
Yep.
Well, that's when you get bored saying the same thing over and over and over again, but it's working. How do you keep it fresh?
Yep.
Right. So part of the conversion rate is that's a piece you can affect by looking at your sales process and testing and measuring and tweaking as you go. And if you start to tweak as you go and you find things are working, don't stop doing them in favor of doing some bright shiny thing because it's more exciting, right? So part of this is, what is your process? Is it, if it's up here, it's not a process until it's written down somewhere. Are you following it step by step? Are you tracking the conversion rate between steps and finding out where do people fall off in your sales process? Because once you find that out, then you can shore that up a little bit. So testing and measuring your conversion rate is huge, and your conversion rate in every step of your sales process. So for those of you who don't really have a process or a consistent process, or your staff is not following the process that you laid out, maybe it's time for us to talk.
Because you can work with people to help them document that process. Is that
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
That's fantastic. I mean, those questions that you asked, Jackie, get to the heart of why I think coaching with someone like you is so valuable. You just know the right questions to ask, starting with, is it up here or is it written down? And
Yes.
if you're out there thinking it's up here, maybe it's time for you to have a complimentary conversation with Jackie and schedule your business strategy session. All you have to do is click on the link above us right now. It'll take you to a quick form you can fill out, and we will contact you to set up a time that works in your schedule. Jackie, thank you so much. I learned a lot today, and I hope everyone else out there did too.
Yeah. See ya.
Bye-bye.